In this video, we'll go through exam questions that cover the criteria, calculate percentages of quantities, including simple percentage increases and decreases by 5% and multiples thereof. You can locate the questions on the mathsmaths.com website under Level 1. The questions come from different exam boards. We'll start with the non-calculator questions and then we'll move to the calculator questions. Here's the first question. Greta manages a visitor attraction. She knows 48,600 people visited the attraction last spring. Greta says, there has been a 15% increase in the number of visitors this spring compared to spring last year. Work out how many people visited the attraction in spring this year for Greta. So there has been a 15% increase from 48,600. We're going to work out 15% of 48,600 and then add it on top of the number. As we can't use a calculator, we'll split 15% into 10% and 5%, because that's easier to work out. So 10% of 48,600 we work out by doing 48,600 divided by 10. Because there are 10 lots of 10% in 100%. So when you divide a number like this by 10, you just knock off a 0 at the end. So the answer is 4,860. 5% is half of the 10% amount. So if I work out half of 4,860, then I've got 5%. So half of the 4 is 2, half of the 8 is 4, half of the 6 is 3, half of 0 is 0. So 5% of 48,600 is equal to 2,430. 15% will be the 10% amount and the 5% amount combined. So I'm going to add these two together. 0, 6 and 3 is 9, 8 and 4 is 12, so 2 down, 1 carried over, 4 and 2 is 6 and the 1 is 7. 7,290 is equal to 15% of 48,600. So that's the 15% increase. We're going to add it on top of 48,600. So we can work out the number for this year. There we have 0, 7, 8, 15, so 5 down, 1 carried over, 4 and 1 is 5. So 55,870 is the number for this year. Going back to the question, work out how many people visited the attraction in spring this year for Greta. And that's what we've just done. Now use reverse calculations to show a check of your working. We can do the check on any of the steps that we've taken. So here, for example, I did 48,600 add 7,270, which gave me 55,870. So if I reverse this, I can do 55,870, take away 7,270. Does it give me 48,600? That's a way of checking. So as long as we check just one of the steps, we get the mark for this. So I'm going to do 55,870, take away 7,270. 0 take away 0 is 0, 7 take away 7 is 0, 8 take away 2 gives me 6, 5 take away 7 means I've got to borrow 1 from the 5 here, and this becomes 15. 15 take away 7 gives me 8, 4 take away 0 gives me 4. So that matches what we have here. So that shows we've done that calculation correctly in the first place. You could do the check on other steps as well, like when we did 48,600 divided by 10, and that gave us 4,860. we can reverse that and do 4,860 times 10, and that gives us 48,600. Dennis takes a loan out to buy a car. He borrows £4,000. He will pay 5% interest on the loan. Calculate £4,000 increased by 5%. So if I represent the amount borrowed here, that is the 100% amount. That's equal to £4,000. Now, who will pay 5% interest? 5%, that is equal to half of 10%. So what I'm doing is splitting the full amount into 10 equal parts first. So each of these divisions is equal to 10%. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 5% is half of this. So that's going to go here, added on top as its increase. So the reason why I showed you this is that I can use the 10% method to work this out. So if I work out what 10% is equal to, then I can halve that to get 5% and add it on top. So 10% of 4,000, that can be worked out by doing 4,000 divided by 10. As you can see, there are 10 of these divisions in here. And that gives me 400. So I just knock off a 0 when I divide by 10. So I've got that equal to 400. Now 5% is half of that. So that will be 200. So I can now add that on top of the 4,000. 4,000 plus 200 gives me £4,200. Because that's what the question asked. To calculate £4,000 increased by 5%. Dennis looks for a car to buy. There are 396 cars advertised. 25% of them are diesel cars. What is 25% of 396? You can use the 10% method here and go working out 10% and then 10% and then 5% and adding them all together. However, we know that 25% is a quarter. So we can just work out a quarter of 396, which means dividing the number by 4. So 396 divided by 4. How many 4s fit into 39? That is 9. 4 times 9 is 36. So we have 3 remaining. How many 4s into 36? That is 9. So the answer is 99. Including staff and overhead, the total cost of making 1 mug of tea is 80p. Mel charges 55% more for a mug of tea than it costs to make. How much does Mel charge for a mug of tea in the cafe? Give your answer in pounds. 55% can be worked out in different ways. So if I represent the 100% amount here, 50% will be about here. So I'm going to carry on and split this into 10 equal parts. So this is 50%. This point will be 55%. So what we can do is work out 50% and then add 5%. 50% of 80, that is half of it, which is 40. Now how do we get the 5%? We can get the 10% and then halve it. So 10% of 80, that is 80 divided by 10, which gives us 8. So knocking off a 0. Now half of 8 is going to be 4. So 5% of 80 is equal to 4. 55%, that will be 50 and the 5%. So 40 and the 4 gives us 44 pence. So that's how much more on top of the 80 pence she needs to charge per each mug of tea. So now the question is, how much does Mel charge for a mug of tea in a cafe? The total. So we'll do 80 plus 44. That gives us 0 and 4, which is 4. 8 and 4 is 12. So that is 124 pence. And that is £1 24 pence. It's like dividing 124 by 100 because there are 100 pence in a pound. So £1 24 pence is the answer. We've got to work out 60% of 300. So is it 18? Is it 50? Is it 180? Or is it 200? 60%, we can split that into 50% and 10%. Now 50% of 300, that is half of it. So we'll do 300 divided by 2, which gives us 150. 10%, that is 1/10, so we do 300 divided by 10, which means knocking off a 0 here to give us 30. So 50 and 10%, that gives us 60% in total. So we're going to add 150 and 30, which gives us 180, and that's grams there. So option C is the correct one. The weekly wage bill for the nursery is £675. They need to reduce this by 20%. The manager thinks that if the wage bill is reduced by £95, this will be enough. Is the manager correct? Show your working out and write the answer in the box below. There are different ways we could do this in. One could be to work out whether 95 out of 675 is equal to 20% or something around that. Or we can work out 20% of 675 and see whether that is equal to something around £95. I'm going to go and do the latter. So 20% can be split into 10% and 10%. So 10% of 675 can be worked out by doing 675 divided by 10. Now there is no 0 at the end, so we can't just knock off a 0, but we can move the decimal point. So 675. It has no decimal point at the moment because it's not a decimal, but you can imagine the decimal point being right at the end because it has no value if you put a decimal point and zeros. So in terms of value, it's actually exactly the same as 675. So zeros after the decimal point at the end don't add any value. So to divide this by 10, I'm going to move the decimal point one place to the left to make this number smaller. So one place, that means the decimal point goes there to 67.5. So that is what 10% of 675 is equal to. 20% will be double that. So if I just add another 67.5, that should give me 20%. So 5 and 5 is 10, 0 down and 1 carried over. 7 and 7 is 14 and the 1 is 15. So 5 down, 1 carried over. 6 and 6 is 12 and the 1 is 13. So 135. That's how much the bill should be reduced by, which is not 95. So is the manager correct? We're going to say no. Last year, the reserve received £3,700 in donations. This year has seen a 15% increase in the amount donated. How much has been donated this year? Show your working out and write the answer in the box below. So we're going to work out the 15% increase on 3,700. So 15% of 3,700. We're going to break it down into 10% and 5%. 10% of 3,700 can be worked out by doing 3,700 divided by 10. As it ends in 0, we can knock off a 0 and make this 370. 5% of 3,700 is equal to half of 370. So 370 divided by 2. How many 2's fit into 3? That's just 1, and we have 1 remaining. How many 2's into 17? That is 8, and we have 1 remaining because 2 lots of 8 is 16. How many 2's into 10? That is 5 exactly. So 185. That's equal to 5%. So 15% will be 370 add 185. 0 and 5 gives us 5. 7 and 8 gives us 15. So 5 down and 1 carried over. 3 and 1 is 4 and the 1 is 5. So that is 555. 15% of 3,700. How much has been donated this year? So we can add 555 on top of 3,700. Zero and 5 gives us 5. 0 and 5 is 5 again. 7 and 5 is 12, so 2 down and 1 carried over. 3 and 1 is 4. So £4,255. Your salary is £16,500. Your boss gives you a 5% increase. How much will your new salary be with a 5% increase? Show your working out and write the answer in the box below. So again, we'll use the 10% method. So 10% of 16,500 can be worked out by doing 16,500 divided by 10. So it ends in a 0, knocking off a 0 gives us 1650, 1,650. So that is what 10% of 16,500 is equal to. To get to 5%, all we do is half that. So we'll do 1,650 divided by 2. How many 2's fit into 16? That is exactly 8. How many 2's into 5? That is 2, and we have 1 remaining. How many 2's into 10? That is 5. So 825 is what 5% of 16,500 is equal to. So we've got the 5%. Now we've got to add it on top of 16,500. Zero and 5 is 5, 0 and 2 is 2, 5 and 8 is 13, so 3 down, 1 carried over, 6 and 1 is 7, 1 and 0 is 1. So 17,325 is the new salary with the 5% increase. Exactly 5% of the £79,755 is spent on advertising. Calculate the amount of money spent on advertising. Show you working out and write the answer in the box below. So to work out 5%, we'll work out 10% first. So 10% of 79,755 can be worked out by doing 79,755 divided by 10. So there is no 0 at the end, which means we're going to have to move the decimal point. So I'm going to rewrite 79,755, put a decimal point right at the end, and then move that decimal point one place to the left to make this number smaller, 10 times smaller. So the new decimal point goes between the two 5s. So 10% of 79,755 is equal to 7,975.5. 5% will be half of that. So I'm going to divide 7,975.5 by 2. How many 2's fit into 7? That is 3, and we have 1 remaining. How many 2's into 19? That is 9, and we have 1 remaining, because 2 times 9 is 18. How many 2's fit into 17? That is 8, because 2 times 8 is 16. Again, 1 remaining. How many 2's into 15? That is 7. 2 times 7 is 14, so we have 1 remaining. Now, I need to transfer this decimal point here. How many 2's into 15? That is 7, and we have 1 remaining. Now I can add the zeros as we have a decimal point here, so it won't make any difference. How many 2's into 10? That is 5 exactly. So 5% of 79,755 is equal to 3,987.75. So the amount spent on advertising is £3,987.75. Work out 25% of 76. Again, we can use the 10% method, but we know that 25% is a quarter of the amount, so it's better to just work out a quarter. So 76 divided by 4. How many 4's fit into 7? That's just 1, and we have 3 remaining. How many 4's into 36? That is exactly 9. So a quarter of 76, or 25% of 76, is equal to 19. And how can you check that you've done this correctly? If you multiply 19 by 4, does it give you 76? And it does. Now we're moving to calculated questions. Holly works at a garage. Mr. Bakir brings his car in for a service. He also buys 2 tires and a battery. Holly has this list of costs. Service £110, tires £49.99 each, battery £89. She uses this list to start to work out the bill for Mr. Bakir. Holly also has to charge 20% VAT on the costs to work out the total bill. So we've got a service for £110, £210. 2 tyres at £49.99 each. So 2 times £49.99 gives us £99.98. Plus a battery for £89. So adding all of these together gives us £298.98. And we've got to add 20% VAT. So 20%, that is 20 out of 100 of the amount, which is £298.98. So in the calculator we can do 20 divided by 100 times 298.98, which is 59.796. So we're going to add that on top of the £298.98. And that gives us 358.776. So that's the total bill, which in pounds that will be £358 and 78 pence. So we're going to need to round this to 2 decimal places. So this is a 6 here, which means we round this up to go to 8, and the digits in front remain the same. Use estimation to show a check of your answer. Okay, so this was about £300. So if we do 20% of £300, is that something close to £60? Let's have a look. So 20% of 300. And that gives us 60. So 60 now, add that to 300. Gives us 360, which is so close to our final answer in the previous part of the question, to 358.78. So that shows that we've done the calculations correctly. In June, Gemma paid £68 for her electricity. In July, she will pay 5% more for her electricity. Work out how much Gemma will pay for electricity in July. So we'll work out 5% of 68 and then add that on top of 68. 5%, that is 5 out of 100 of the amount, which is £68. So using a calculator, we do 5 divided by 100, because we know the fraction line means division. So 5 divided by 100 times 68, which is 3.4. We'll add that on top of the 68, as we said earlier. Gives us 71.4. In terms of money, that is £71.40. Matteo works for the local council. The council has 1,260 grid bins. The council will increase the number of grid bins by 5%. Matteo thinks there will be more than 1,300 grid bins after the increase. Is Matteo correct? You must show your working. So 5%, again, that is 5 out of 100 of the number, which is 1,260. So using the calculator, 5 divided by 100 times 1,260 gives us 63. So 63 more bins. So adding that on top of 1,260 gives us 1,323. Is that more than 1,300? Yes, it is. So is Matteo correct? We're going to say yes. Chester needs 240 tiles. He buys 10% more tiles in case some of the tiles break. He cuts 3/8 of the tiles he buys. How many tiles does he cut? So he needed 240 tiles, then he buys 10% more. So we'll work out that first. 10%, that is 10 out of 100 of 240. So using the calculator, we'll do 10 divided by 100 times 240, which is 24. So 24 extra tiles, so 240 at 24 gives us 264 tiles bought all together. He cuts 3/8 of the tiles that he buys. So what is 3/8? That looks like this. 1, 2, 3. So we'll divide 264 by 8 and then multiply it by 3. So 264 divided by 8 times 3 gives us 99. So he cut 99 tiles. Every year, Shaz arranges a football tournament to raise money for charity. Last year, she raised £175. This year, her target is to raise 25% more than last year. What is £175 increased by 25%? So 25%, that is 25 out of 100 of 175. Which is 43.75. So that's an increase. So we're going to add it on top of 175. Which gives us 218.75. So that's £218.75. Calculate 75% of 2,744. Give your answer to the nearest hundred. 75%, that is the same as 3/4, but as we can use a calculator, we can just work out 75%. So 75 out of 100 of 2,744. So 75 divided by 100 times 2,744 gives us 2,058. We've got to give our answer to the nearest hundred. So locating the hundreds column, or the digit, that's this one here. So going units, tens, hundreds, thousands. This is hundreds. So we'll look on the right to decide whether we keep this as a 0 or we go up to 1. As this is 5, so if it's 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9, we round up. It is 5, so we're going to round up. So this will become 1. Digit in front doesn't change. The digits after become zeros. So 2,100. So the question was this closer to 2,000 or 2,100? As it is 2,058, this is closer to 2,100. And there is no pound sign or anything, any other unit. So we just write 2,100. Is studying business management at college. At the start of the course, he took out a loan to cover his course fees. When Joe finishes his course and gets a job, he will pay back the loan. Each year, he will have to pay back 0% of any income he earns up to £25,000 a year, 15% of any income he earns over £25,000 a year. The repayments will be spread evenly over the year. Work out Joe's monthly loan repayment if he earns £27,120 a year. So up to £25,000 a year, there will be no amount to be paid back. So what we're going to do is 27,120 take away 25,000, which gives us £2,120. On that, he will pay 15%. So we'll do 15% of 2,120. Which is 318. That is for the whole year, so we'll do 318 divided by 12 to work out the monthly loan repayment, which is 26.5. So that is £26.50. Joy is also responsible for the student services web pages. There are 4 web pages: finance, well-being, social, academic. The table compares the number of visits to each web page last year and this year. We've got visits to web pages last year, this year, by percentage. Last year there were 25,000 visits in total. This year there were 32,000 visits in total. Which year had the greater number of visits to the finance web page? Show your working. So this is the finance web page. Last year, 50% of 25,000. So 50% of 25,000 we work out by doing 25,000 divided by 2. That gives us 12,500. And this year, that is 40% of 32,000. So 40 divided by 100 times 32,000 gives us 12,800. So which year had the greater number of visits to the finance web page? That's this year. In 2010, scientists said that 45% reduction of CO2 emissions was needed by 2030 to avoid average temperatures rising by more than 1.5 degrees Celsius. Global CO2 emissions were 10 gigatons in 2010. What must the CO2 emissions be by 2030 to avoid the temperature rising by more than 1.5 degrees Celsius? So the 10 gigatons will need to be reduced by 45%. So 45% of 10. So that is 45 divided by 100 times 10, which is 4.5. So that's a reduction. So we're going to take it away from the 10. 10 take away 4.5. Gives us 5.5. So in the right, 5.5. A customer wants to buy a sofa. The salesperson says he must pay a deposit. You can pay 10%, that's £39.90, or you can pay 20%, that's £49.90. Explain why the salesperson must have made a mistake. We know that the 20% amount is double the 10% amount. But if you check, £49.90 is not double £39.90. So we'll need to say that the 20% amount should be double the 10% amount. 2 times £39.90, that is equal to £79.80. And not £49.90. Or you could say that the 10% amount should be half of the 20% amount. So if you divide £49.90 by 2, it doesn't give you £39.90. A cricket club sells 5,062 tickets for a charity match. 3,484 are adult tickets, and the rest are under 18s tickets. We've got ticket prices: adults £18, under 18s £12. 85% of ticket sales pay for the event. The rest goes to community projects. How much does the club give to community projects? Show your working. Let's work out how much will come through the tickets. So we've got the number of adult tickets, which is 3,484 times 18. That gives us 62,712. Children tickets, we don't know how many exactly, but we can work out by doing 5,062 take away 3,484, which is 1,578. Multiply that by 12, gives us 18,936. So the total will be worked out by adding these two together, which is 81,648. So 85% of the ticket sales will pay for the event. The rest will go to community projects. So 100% is the whole thing, the whole amount. 85% goes to pay for the event. So what is left? 100 take away 85 gives us 15%. So we're going to work out 15% of £81,648. So 15%, that's 15 out of 100 times 81,648. Gives us 12,247 and 20 pence. That's how much goes to community projects. What is 10% of £68.50? So 10%, 10 out of 100 of 68.5. You could have the 0 after that if you like as well. Makes no difference. So using the calculator, we'll do 10 divided by 100 times 68.5, which is 6.85. So £6.85. You are working for Highfield Roofing. Your manager has asked you to calculate the price of a job. The customer has a budget of £1,000. The project will need materials costing £426.93, one roofer and one apprentice for 3 days of work from 8:30 to 17:30. The roofer is paid £84.50 per day. The apprentice is paid £4.75 per hour. Add 20% to the total cost of the job for VAT. Can the project be completed within the budget? Show your working out and write the answer in the box below. So we have the materials costing £426.93. Now we're going to add to that how much the roofer will be paid and how much the apprentice will be paid, and then on top of that the 20% for VAT. So the roofer is paid per day and they will be working for 3 days. So what we're going to do is 3 times £84.50. Which is £253.50. So we're going to add that here. Apprentice, they paid £4.75 per hour. How many hours will they do? Let's have a look. From 8:30 to 9:30 to 10:30 to 11:30 to 12:30. That will be 1, 2, 3, 4 hours. Now from 12:30 to 1:30 to 2:30 to 3:30 to 4:30 to 5:30, that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. So 5 and the 4, that makes 9 hours. So that is 9 hours per day and that will be 3 days. So multiplying, we do 4.75 times 9 times 3 is £128 and 25 pence. So we can add that here. So we work out the total so far. So adding £253 and 50 pence and £426 and 93 pence to £128 and 25 pence gives us £808 and 68 pence. Now we're going to need to add 20% VAT, so 20% of £808 and 68 pence. We do 20 divided by 100 times 808.68, which is £161 and 74 pence. So adding that on top of £808 and 68 pence gives us £970 and 42 pence. This is below £1,000, so can the project be completed within the budget? We're going to say yes. You are working for Highfield Landscape Gardeners. The owner has asked you to calculate the price of a project for a customer. The customer has a budget of £6,000. The project will need materials costing £990, 2 gardeners and 1 labourer for 12 days of work from 9 to 17. The gardeners are each paid £159.99 per day. The labourer is paid £8.25 per hour. Add 20% to the total for VAT. Can the project be completed within the budget? Show your working out and write the answer in the box below. So we've got to add to 990 the cost for the 2 gardeners working. They are paid per day for 12 days of work. So we're going to do 12 times 159.99, and it's 2 of them. So we'll multiply that by 2. So 12 times 159.99 times 2 gives us £3,839 and 76 pence. Now for the labourer, they paid £8.25 an hour. How many hours do they do? From 9 to get to 10, and then 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. So times 8, and that's for 12 days. So times 12 as well. So 8.25 times 8 times 12 gives us £792. So adding all of these together gives us £5,621.76. We're going to add VAT at 20%, so 20% of £5,621.76. So 20 divided by 100 times £5,621.76 gives us £1,124.35. So that will need to be added on top of £5,621.76. And that gives us £6,746.11. Is that within the budget, which is £6,000? No. Ben and Joe research house prices in their area. They find this graph showing the change in average house prices over the last 5 years. The estate agent says the average house price has increased by more than 30% from 2014 to 2019. Is the estate agent correct? Okay, so 2014 to 2019. What has the increase been by? So 2014, that was £130,000, and 2019, that was right here, so 165, so it's between 160 and 170, so we're going to say 165,000. So what we're going to do is 165,000 take away 130,000. So that gives us an increase by 35,000. So 35,000 out of the original price of houses, so the one we started with. So that was 2014. Before 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, and then 2019. So 35,000 out of 130,000. So 35,000 divided by 130,000 gives us 0.26923 and so on. So this is as a decimal. As a percentage, this is 26.923 and so on. So this is about 27%. Is that more than 30%? No, it's not. So is the estate agent correct? We're going to say no. Ben and Joe find a house they like. The estate agent tells them that the asking price is £180,350. So £180,350. The estate agent recommends they should offer 20% less. How much should Ben and Joe offer? Show your working out and write the answer in the box below. So 20% of £180,350 we do 20 divided by 100 times 180,350, which is 36,070. So that's how much less. So we're going to take it away from 180,350. And that gives us 144,280 pounds. That's how much they should offer. Ryan's team sold 380 tickets for the charity football match. 35% of the tickets sold were for children and 20% of the tickets sold were for senior citizens. The rest of the tickets were sold at full price for adults. Ryan thinks that 176 tickets were sold at full price for adults. Is Ryan correct? Show your calculations and the workings out here. So 380 tickets is the total number of tickets sold. So that's the 100% amount. If 35% of the tickets were sold to children and 20% to senior citizens, then the rest will be worked out by going 100% minus 35 and 20, that is 55. So that gives us 45% left. So 45% of the tickets were sold at full price to adults. So 45% of 380, which is the total number of tickets, should give us how many tickets were sold at full price. So 45 divided by 100 times 380 gives us 171 tickets. Is that 176 that Ryan suggests? No. So we're going to say no, he's not correct. Zach gets £23.80 in tips from guests. He keeps 85% of this money. He gives the rest to Vicky. How much money does he give to Vicky? £23.80 is the total amount, or the 100% amount. If he keeps 85%, then he must give to Vicky 15%. So 15% of £23.80 should give us the amount that he gives to Vicky. So 15 divided by 100 times 23.8 gives us 3.57. So £3.57 he gives to Vicky. Increase 250 by 30%. So 30% of 250 30 divided by 100 times 250 gives us 75. So we're going to add that on top of 250. Which gives us 325. Work out which is smaller, 15% of 180 or 20% of 120. You must show your working. 15% of 180 or 20% of 120. 15 divided by 100 times 180 gives us 27. 20 divided by 100 times 120 gives us 24. Smaller, that is 24, so 20% of 120. Is smaller. And this is the end of the questions.